Senator Graham said they have a legal and moral obligation to stay on the path of disposing of this nuclear waste. Although we've come a long way in the fight toward equality, we still have a long road ahead. A new and controversial law expands the places where Georgia gun owners can carry a firearm. Nick Valencia reports. Chief Flowers tells me the cameras were donated through the J.D. Paugh Memorial Fund, and the chief says they're thankful for this new technology. What did Martin Luther King do?
He tried to let the black and white people be in the same world.
An important thing to remember with this cold weather is make sure that you give your dogs plastic water bowls so they don't freeze as easily. So in the most rural areas here, they're going to get service last because it comes from all the way up here at the main line. And the best part about this is the Walton Foundation raises all the funds so the families... Even though you won't see Tiger Woods at this year's tournament, patrons say this is still the Masters. The fate of Project Jackson is in the hands of a South Carolina judge. The lawsuit for the $144 million proposal was in court Friday.
I'm a good mom. I love my children deeply. Like, my life wouldn't be the same without them. Like, they are everything to me. And I don't want anybody to feel any other way.
For Danielle Wolf and her two little girls, life is slowly going back to normal. On Sunday night, she was arrested at a Kroger grocery store for using profanity while shopping with her husband and children. Wolf was handcuffed and charged with disorderly conduct. She says the story has clearly gotten a lot of attention, and she wants others to see what kind of mother those who know her see on a daily basis.
Like, I want them to see me as the mother that my friends see me and my children see me, and not the way the news is making me be a monster.
The mother of two says the night she was arrested, she lost her patience with the girls.
Mothers just have, you know, they just have that day, you know, like where they feel stressed out. Every mother does.
Wolf says while she doesn't agree with the arrest, she regrets cursing in public. She knows it wasn't just offensive to her kids, but to other shoppers within earshot, including the woman who turned her in. Michelle Smith says she didn't expect the arrest, and on Thursday, I was there as the two women reconnected for the first time since the incident.
I'm glad that we have the opportunity to speak, because I want you to understand why I was so upset. You know, like I was telling the reporter just now, it's more because of me having been abused.
I understand, and you know, I wanted to sincerely apologize to you and let you know like how sorry I am. Like,
Wolf and Smith say this was unfortunate, but are glad they were able to apologize and get this behind them. Both call it a lesson learned the hard way.
But I can assure you that I will never say that word out in public again. I will never say it to my children. I will never say it to my husband again.
It's a hard lesson that words matter, but few more than the words, I'm sorry. In North Augusta, Elizabeth Hughes, NBC 26.
When it comes to fighting crime, the Hepzibah police officers have a new addition to their uniforms. The chief tells me his officers now have body cameras filming your every move.
When it comes to keeping the bad guys off the streets in Hepzibah, Chief Dwayne Flowers says the department has all the right technology, especially since the department was given 8 new body cameras.
Basically what it does is it's there and it's recording, and it captures everything. And a lot of times it'll capture things that we don't even see.
Chief Flowers says police officers need to be aware of their surroundings at all times, and having these cameras placed on the front of an officer's uniform will ensure a second pair of eyes for them.
This is my evidence that it didn't take place, but then again, if it did, you know, I have to own up to what happened.
For Officer E.B. Hambrick, having this body camera is the best way to make sure evidence is not tampered with, because it's all being recorded.
And other officers that might use too much force or might say or do something that's not necessary, so it also helps the citizens.
Hambrick says the cameras are small, easy to use, and cost much less than the vehicle cameras. And although she would like to think all police officers make the right judgment call, if they don't, these spies can come in pretty handy in a dispute. But the new body cameras are not all the police department is using to fight crime. These new vehicle cameras can track down any vehicle on the street and give law enforcement the 411 without even getting out of the car.
Whether I'm stationary or whether I'm moving, the tag reader will pick them up instantly. It'll let me know if the vehicle's stolen, if the vehicle has valid insurance, registration, anything like that. And then it also tells me who the registered owner is, as well as if their license are suspended or if they have any active warrants.
New high-tech devices helping to make sure you and law enforcement are held accountable.
Chief Flowers tells me the cameras were donated through the J.D. Paugh Memorial Fund, and the chief says they're thankful for this new technology. In the newsroom, Elizabeth Hughes, NBC 26. Today I spoke with a physician who visited Africa last year on a humanitarian trip. He shares his story with us.
Since the Ebola virus outbreak registered in Guinea in March, it has killed nearly 1,000 people. Dr. Jose Vasquez with Georgia Regents University says the virus kills 64% of the people who become infected.
This is the largest outbreak of Ebola that we have ever had.
Dr. Vasquez says the virus is contained to parts of Africa for now. That's where 2 American doctors contracted the illness. They're now being treated in Atlanta. Augusta orthopedic surgeon Dr. Justin Bundy led a surgical team on a humanitarian trip to Kenya last year.
I certainly don't know that traveling to Western Africa right now would be a great idea for any physician from the United States, but those people need help, and they're not going to get it from their own people. They don't have the resources there that we do.
The surgeon says he and the crew provided care to patients in an overcrowded hospital.
It was a very different experience. That I'll never forget some of the things that we saw when you would see 2 people to a bed in bunk beds at both, laying in for treatment for months. Kids were fantastic, and they would just crowd around you in hopes for a lollipop because they've never had one.
Dr. Bundy says anytime physicians travel to third world countries, safety must be a priority.
It's extremely important. If you're going to any of those third world countries as a physician, you have to be aware of what's going on.
Dr. Vasquez says while the disease has spread rapidly in Africa, people in the U.S. have little reason to worry about catching it here.
In Atlanta at Emory, I mean, it would be impossible. It'd have to be some kind of unusual act for anybody, for that virus to even leave.
Dr. Bundy says he plans to go back to Africa again because of the amazing experience. Live in the studio, Elizabeth Hughes, NBC 26. It was a tearful deployment ceremony as soldiers said goodbye to friends and families one last time before boarding their buses. And for one mother, saying goodbye to her son was a close call.
What don't you worry about, so just gets home safe.
For Pam and Gary Mason, this will be the 3rd time they're saying goodbye to their son, Aaron.
He came home the one time and said, well, the base only got bombed once, and it's like, that's one time too many as far as I'm concerned.
As the ceremony ended, the soldiers began boarding their buses. But as soon as the Masons got outside, their son had already boarded his bus without saying goodbye.
I don't think he's on this one.
Pam frantically searched the buses, and just when she thought she had missed her opportunity, she found Aaron on the last bus to leave Fort Gordon.
I can't reach. I love you. Be careful, okay?
What was going through your mind when you were searching for him and you were thinking maybe you wouldn't catch him on the bus?
Time's running out and they're going to be leaving, and
Aaron is part of the 518th Tactical Installation and Networking Company that will spend the next 9 months in various locations in Kuwait and Afghanistan.
For the soldiers, it's both, kind of finishing and moving on for something big that they've been preparing for, so it's almost a relief to finally deploy.
A 9-month journey, Lieutenant Captain Michael Martell says these soldiers are ready for.
A lot of faith in them, like I said. Very confident in what they're doing, their leadership, and the soldiers there. We know they will do very well, and we're proud of them.
And after a brief goodbye, Pam and Gary will head back to Ohio, where they will wait for their son to return home.
just love you, be safe, and we're very proud of you. So, I love you with all my heart.
This will be the 5th time the unit has been deployed to this region. Friends and family tell me it never gets any easier saying goodbye. In the newsroom, Elizabeth Hughes, NBC 26.